And I'm like, I'm gonna fucking slap you, bro. Hello. So today I'm going to talk to you about this book I read called You Asked for Perfect by Laura Silverman. And to be honest, it was far from perfect. Ahaha, I'm so funny. Master of comedy. So I originally wanted to read this book back in high school because it seemed like I could relate a lot to it. The main character is a senior in high school, he's a violinist in orchestra, and he's pretty good at school, and that's something that's pretty important to him. But then he flops calculus. And you know what? I too flopped calculus. This is representation we need. Yeah, so for the most part, the book covers a lot of stuff that is really relatable to kids who are about to go to college and are worried about their futures. But the problem is the main character is so obnoxious that it's hard to sympathize with him. But yeah, more on that later. So yeah, just a warning. I basically can't think about this book for more than 5 seconds at a time without getting annoyed, so this video is probably going to be a mess. And I also read this while stuck in a motel for 3 days, so that really improved my experience. But yeah, let's start with reason number 1 why this book was so hard to get through. Meet Ariel Stone, the most annoying main character you'll ever have the misfortune to read about. So yeah, as I mentioned before, he's a senior in high school, and his only personality trait is that he's on track to be valedictorian of his school. That and the fact that he likes sour candy, which is something that's brought up way too much for some reason. But yeah, before I talk more about Ariel and why he's so annoying, let me talk about his classmates, who are also annoying. So his school is pretty competitive, and a lot of his classmates are really smart and get really good grades, and that was exactly what my high school was like. So here are some quotes that show just how ridiculous and obnoxious Ariel and his classmates are. There's this thing some AP kids do. We act like we don't care, like these perfect grades appear without effort. We pretend to study only in the 5 minutes before class, and we shrug our shoulders when teachers hand back tests with A's scrawled across the top. But we also make sure to keep those tests flipped up on our desks, so everyone can see how smart we are and just how naturally it comes. And it's just like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And then there's this other one, Ariel saying, I was special, a smart kid, a really smart kid. And the sick part is when I'm doing well, I still feel like that special kid, like I'm important for having so much work. Kids at school brag about all-nighters like badges of honor. There's this twisted part of me that feels proud, invigorated even, every time I stay up all night. And then this one's just stupid. When we're losing a football game, our fans chant SAT scores, because at least we're beating the other school academically. That is literally the most loser thing I've ever heard. Okay, so now that we've talked about how ridiculous Ariel's school is, let's talk about how ridiculous Ariel is. So, like I said, Ariel is on track to be valedictorian of his school. And to be valedictorian, you have to have the highest GPA. And taking APs helps with that because they're weighted higher. So the more APs you take, the higher your GPA. So Ariel's main competition for valedictorian is this girl named Pari. And for the most of high school, they were neck and neck until Ariel found out about this online AP Comp Sci class he could take for the GPA boost. So here's the quote. I didn't tell her about the class until the registration deadline had passed. Vicious. But I'm sure she would have done the same. We both knew one of us would win eventually. I'm not going to apologize for being the one to come out on top. And that last line just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I'm not going to apologize for being the one to come out on top. Like, it just sounds so ruthless and like he would literally do anything to become valedictorian. Aha, but here comes sweet, sweet irony because Ariel fails his calc quiz. So his guidance counselor recommends he gets a tutor, but he's adamant that nobody finds out he's struggling, and he even goes as far as to tell Amir, his classmate who graded his calc quiz, not to tell anyone that he failed it. And so there's this quote right here. If I get a tutor at school, people will know I'm struggling. Pari has let her guard down. If it stays that way, maybe I could secure valedictorian with a B in calculus. And again, it's just like the way he's thinking about it irks me so much. Like, Pari has let her guard down. Isn't that just like, bro? Okay, and here's another instance of Ariel being obnoxious. This summer, I woke up early to study for the SATs. I'd already scored a 1560, but I wanted that perfect 1600. And I got it. Like, you arrogant prick, shut the fuck up. But apparently, perfect SAT scores can't save you from failing calculus, because Ariel still needs a tutor. So he decides to enlist the help of Amir, the guy who graded his calc quiz. So just a bit of backstory on Ariel and Amir's relationship. So apparently they actually knew each other outside of school because their younger sisters play soccer together, but for some reason they've never been close. Probably because Ariel is a judgmental piece of shit. He dislikes Amir for no good reason, and his narration regarding him is always pissy and judgmental. I guess he just thinks Amir is a pretentious hipster guy because he likes photography. And it's like, okay buddy, you woke up early every day in the summer so you could get a perfect SAT score. Who's worse? But yeah, there's this one part where he says Amir only dates older guys, probably because he thinks the ones in our grade aren't good enough for him. And it's like, what the fuck is your problem, dude? Like, they've literally never talked before, and he just hates him for, like, no reason. So one day they're at the park watching their sisters play soccer, and Ariel spots Amir. And this is his narration regarding him. He's wearing a t-shirt with the Ravenclaw house sigil on it. he would identify as a Ravenclaw, the most pretentious of the Hogwarts houses. Again, he's being judgmental of Amir for no good reason, but also, he thinks Amir is pretentious. That is literally the funniest shit I've ever read. Also, I'm just kind of curious. Which house do you think is the most pretentious? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, no, but seriously, I'm kind of curious. Because honestly, I could see a fair argument for literally any of the houses, but I honestly thought most people would say Gryffindor. You know, pompous and obnoxious and always trying to do the right thing, you know? But yeah, I'm curious, let me know. Anyway, so they're hanging out and talking, and this time Ariel decides to take shots at Amir again, but this time to his face. So they're talking about how adults are always pestering them about college and their futures and stuff, which, haha, relatable. So Amir is saying, it's incessant. If I have to hear one more overt hint that I should go to some liberal arts school, don't you want to? Or wait, do you want to skip college and like move to Brooklyn and live in a loft? Amir raises his eyebrow. Sorry, that sounded kind of judgy, didn't it? Yeah, it did, you bitch. Okay, so, despite his disrespect towards Amir, Ariel still has the audacity to ask him to tutor him in calc. Okay, so they literally have like 2 tutoring sessions in total, and Ariel literally leaves in the middle of the first one because he can't handle the idea of not understanding something for once, which, again, is understandable and relatable. Ariel is smart and he's used to being viewed as such, so I understand why the situation is hard for him to handle. But Ariel is so annoying and obnoxious that it's kind of hard for me to sympathize with him. So later that week he takes his calc test, and at the end of it, his math teacher calls him up in front of the class and grades his test in front of him, which is really weird and doesn't really make any sense, because why would you single out one of your students in front of the entire class and only grade his test in front of him and literally no one else's? It's like, why would you do that? It's because he's an asshole, I guess. Mr. Eller calls me forward, beckoning with a single finger. Dread curls in my gut. Most of my classmates are still in the room. I feel their eyes on me, wondering what the teacher wants. I glance back at Pari. Her expression flickers. Hunger. What the fuck is wrong with these people? I want to point out though, this is from Ariel's perspective, and at this point, I don't really trust his judgment, like at all. Like at this point, I can't tell if Pari's actually looking at him with the expression of hunger at the prospect of him failing his calc test, or if that's just Ariel projecting. But as far as we know, Amir's the only one who knows he failed his calc quiz. Based on this next quote, I'm pretty sure it's just Ariel projecting. So Ariel's like, I want to open up to Pari, but part of me wonders if she's trying to get me to put my guard down. Maybe she knows about the failed quiz and wants me to slip further. And all I'm getting from this is that Ariel has some serious issues. Like, he thinks he can't open up to people about the fact that he's struggling because he'll destroy their perception of him that he's smart, or because he thinks they're secretly plotting to destroy him like some evil genius. Like, you have some problems, bro. I wish all Ariels a very get therapy, please. Anyway, Ariel got 100% on that test after one proper tutoring session, and he never had any problems with calc after that. Cause you know, realism. But yeah, later he flops an English essay. 78, I got a C. But everyone told me this was the easiest AP class ever, which I'm rolling my eyes. But Ariel's best friend Sook got a 92, even though she barely studies. And Ariel's like, for a moment I hate my best friend. And I'm like, I'm gonna fucking slap you, bro, cause she's not even flexing. Like, it's your fault you got a C. Why you mad at her? Like, come on. Oh, but it gets so much better. So much better. Because Ariel goes to talk to his teacher about it. And so he's like, I found mistakes in the past, debated my way through unclear multiple choice questions and exceptions of grammatical rules. Sometimes the A doesn't always start as an A. Sometimes you have to argue your way up from a lower grade. Oh, so he's one of those. Once again, reminding me of kids from my high school. Okay, there's nothing wrong with talking to a teacher about a grade, because you can learn from your mistakes, or even arguing for a better grade if you think they made a mistake. But this isn't what Ariel is doing, because we soon find out he didn't even finish the book. I did. Okay, I didn't. I read most of the book, and the Spark Notes. Though switching back and forth between reading and audio did get a bit confusing. Still, I read more than enough to write a competent essay. Well, clearly not, because you got a C. I read it, I lie. I promise. Not closely then. And you never participate in class conversation. You barely listen. You were on your phone again today. And it shows in your essay. Okay, so he literally doesn't complete the work, and he expects to get a good grade, and his teacher knew he didn't finish the book, and still gave him a passing grade. Honestly, he should consider himself lucky. This isn't some blow-off class. English is an integral part of everyone's future. If you can't read and write competently, you won't get anywhere. I bite back the fact that I got a perfect verbal score on the SAT. Ah, he got a perfect verbal score on the SAT. That's really helping him right now, isn't it? Tell that to the C you got, buddy. It's just annoying that in this situation, he's still being obnoxious as fuck. Like, how do you expect me to feel bad for this guy? So anyway, his teacher ends up giving him this huge assignment to earn back 5% on his final grade. And he complains about how much work it is. Even though, you know, you asked for this, bitch. Okay, so now shit is stacking up for Ariel. So, he's first chair violin, aka the sitting concertmaster for his orchestra. And they're playing this really difficult piece, and he has this really difficult solo. And during rehearsal, he royally fucks it up. And so the orchestra teacher's like, okay, you and Pari, who's second chair, are gonna play this for me in a few weeks, and whoever does better gets to be the new sitting concertmaster. Also, the orchestra teacher is like really mean, which is like super unrealistic and something I've never experienced before, so I don't know why the author put that in there. Okay, but he later sees Pari and Pari doesn't meet my eyes. Good. And it's like, it's not her fault, you suck. Shut the fuck up. Also, my orchestra concertmaster would never fuck up that solo. But yeah, he ends up losing that concertmaster spot to Pari. Okay, here comes the good shit. So, Ariel's stressed, and Pari's trying to make him feel better. It's only high school. I've been telling myself this for months. I still don't always believe it, but it's true. We'll graduate and go to college, and none of this will matter. And Ariel basically says, it matters, don't be ridiculous. And then Pari starts to get upset. She's like, I'm not being ridiculous. And then, you can be a jerk, Ariel. I've worked as hard as you. I'm as smart. You think I'm ridiculous. Why? Because you found the online AP class and I didn't? Congratulations. That definitely makes you better than me. I was trying to help you, but I guess you're fine on your own. Good luck. I hope you end up with everything you think is so important. And I'm like, hell yeah, go off. Finally, someone tells Ariel the shit I've been wanting to tell him this entire time. But still, Ariel is being a little bitch. Because later, he's thinking about everything that's stressing him out, including the argument and him flopping his English essay. And this is what he says. The wink of sleep I did get was filled with stress dreams, snatches of Mrs. Rayner lecturing me and Pari's eyes filling with tears. She doesn't get how difficult this is for me. She doesn't get it? Like they're not all going through the same shit? What a self-centered piece of garbage. Okay, and then later they're talking and Pari's like, when I found out you were taking that computer science class, it almost broke me. I put in all that work and I was gonna lose my shot at valedictorian because I missed signing up for one class. I don't blame you for signing up and not telling me, but you were so damn elitist about it. Like, congratulations, you're so smart. You gamed the system better. Not to mention, I deal with a lot more shit than you do. You're a guy. It's cool for guys to be successful. But if a girl wants to achieve the same level of success, we're annoying. Like, we're asking for too much. And then he's like, oh, I didn't realize. Of course you didn't realize, you're a piece of shit. But Pari keeps going and she's like, it took months, but I finally accepted that I didn't have a chance at being number one. And then you tore into me. I was only trying to help you and you were a jerk. I never wanted to be your competition, Ariel. I just wanted to be your friend. I don't think I need to say any more about this. So in the end, Ariel realizes that grades are in fact not the most important thing in the world, mostly because his friends start hating him for being a dick and only caring about himself and school. But did that make up for the torture that I endured for 80% of this book? No. But hey, if there's one thing Ariel didn't do, it's make a spreadsheet of all his classmates' ACT and SAT scores. Because one girl at my school did do that. Okay, so now let's talk about some other shit I didn't like in this book. The romance. Okay, so this book is written in first person from Ariel's perspective, and this is when I come to realize romance is so fucking cringe in first person. The number of times I read my cheeks heat or my cheeks warm in this book is ungodly. So Amir's the love interest, which honestly doesn't really make any sense to me because, like we mentioned before, Ariel is judgmental of him for like no good reason, but also for some reason uncontrollably attracted to him, and then they just get together, because why not? Okay, so let me just show you some examples of the cringe. So, he glances at me and smiles. My cheeks heat. My cheeks heat as I wonder what he'd look like without his Ravenclaw shirt on. My eyes scan him for a moment too long, and the word want surfaces in my thoughts. Please stop. Go to horny jail. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you about their first kiss. So this is back when Ariel is in danger of losing his orchestra concertmaster spot. So he's practicing really hard to the point where his fingers are like blistering and bleeding. Which, first of all, I get that the author's trying to show that he's like working himself too hard, but if you're a practiced violinist who has been practicing since you were a kid, you already have calluses. So unless you're like literally practicing for like God knows how long, like this shouldn't happen. So Amir comes over while Ariel is practicing and he points out that his finger is bleeding. And then like 2 lines later they're making out. Cause yeah, bleeding finger, the sexiest foreplay. Okay, now comes my favorite part of this entire thing. So, as you may have noticed, there have been a couple sprinklings of Harry Potter references throughout the book so far. Specifically, the mention of Amir wearing a Ravenclaw shirt. So as I was reading the book, I noticed those references and I was like, okay, some Harry Potter references, it's not that bad. But like the pandemic, it just kept going. Too soon? Okay. So I decided to make a counter of every Harry Potter reference throughout this book. And I might have missed a couple because I only started doing this halfway through the book when I realized there were way too many. But I think I got most of them. Basically, Ariel's only personality trait is that he's a tryhard at school and loves sour candy, and Amir's is that he likes photography and is obsessed with Harry Potter. Okay, speed run time. Let's fucking go. His cup has the Deathly Hallows symbol on it. So you're a big Harry Potter fan, yeah? I ask him. I am. Still waiting on my Hogwarts letter. I bet they don't have calculus at Hogwarts. They don't, but I've heard arithmancy is difficult. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? Perfect Quidditch weather. Quidditch weather? It's a real sport. National Leagues and everything. He pulls out the third Harry Potter book, a well-worn paperback. I feel like I just aced my owls. Oh my god, excellent Harry Potter reference. I wish I had a time turner like Hermione. We'll keep the invisibility cloak on for now. Amir has never played Settlers of Catan because he, surprisingly, prefers Harry Potter Clue. English is a ridiculous amount of work. Between that and Spanish Lit, I never want to read another book again. Except Harry Potter. Except Harry Potter. She'd make a great chaser. Does everything relate to Harry Potter in your mind? Me at the author. In his Hufflepuff t-shirt. I need to fix us before his Hufflepuffness runs out. We've been texting all the time, rambling about everything from our favorite Harry Potter creatures to places we want to live. On the walls, there are cursive decals with quotes from Harry Potter. Next to a picture of Sarah playing piano, sun streaming in through the window, it says, "Ah, music. A magic beyond all we do here." Isn't that from Sorcerer's Stone? There's a photo of Rasha, microphone in front of her, with a look so serene it's startling. The quote next to it reads, "Words are, in my not so humble opinion, our most inexhaustible source of magic." I can't believe I have an exhibit at Elaine's, and it's Harry Potter themed. 2 tickets to Atlanta Symphony Orchestra's presentation of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. They're going to play the score while showing the first movie. I wanted to get us tickets to Harry Potter World. And of course, my favorite. Will you be the Harry to my Cedric? I ship us more than I ship Harry and Cedric too. And it's like, why is this the couple they pick? Ah yes, one dead and one with a lifetime of trauma by age 14. Romantic. Hey, just like their first kiss with a bleeding finger. Gotta stay on brand, I guess. I narrow my eyes at his Hufflepuff shirt. I thought you were a Ravenclaw. Observe it. I'm a Ravenpuff, so I wear both. I love Harry Potter, but I haven't put that much thought into my house. I'd say you're a Gryffindor. Ariel? A Gryffindor? Really? That's what you go for? He's literally the most Slytherin person ever. He would literally do anything to be valedictorian. How could you not say anything other than Slytherin for him? Like, the author loves to make Harry Potter references, but doesn't see that he's so obviously a Slytherin? What? Laura Silverman, if you see this video, I am so sorry. But that bitch should have been in Slytherin. Okay, now for my 2 favorite quotes. He's still on his phone. I think he's on Tumblr. I spy a gif of Hermione punching Malfoy. People still use Tumblr? Oh, but it gets better. It gets so much better. She literally uses the phrase, "I ship it," in this fucking book. Published in 2019. What is this? 2012? Girl, what the fuck? Okay, so that's pretty much all I'm gonna talk about for this book. There's actually a lot more about this book that I could have talked about but cut out for the sake of time. Like the privilegedness and elitism of this book, which actually one of the characters points out for like one line in the book, and Ariel's like, "Wow, I actually didn't think about that." And it's like, okay. But there's also this whole thing, like his guidance counselor is super sus. She like encouraged him to skip lunch to take an extra AP, which by the way, some kids at my high school did do that. But yeah, I think I've spent enough of my remaining brain cells on this book, so we're done here. But yeah, since I finished this book, which is like 3 weeks ago, I haven't read another book since, and it's definitely this book's fault. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more ranty content like this, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Ahaha. Okay, bye.